Okay, that was a fascinating panel, and I think really illustrative of not only the countries that they highlighted, but what they described in that panel is true in most countries around the world. So this is kind of what we're dealing with here when we talk about building these international standards and building an international MLS. It's not so much the technology aspect, but it's also the mind state of how to do business. So something we'll explore a little more in the next few sessions, but this next session is our first technology showcase. I'm very proud to announce Ali Attar. He was going to showcase what he calls the Paris paradigm. Without further ado, Ali.
Thank you. First of all, welcome. Let me see if my sister-in-law wants to call me again. So, good. Okay. Okay, so first a little bit about us. So we are a company with international background. Basically, me and my co-founder, we are French citizens. We have a Persian background. We lived in Dubai. Then basically we started Realty Now back in 2007 for one reason. We wanted to help agents, basically to 2008 I should say, to showcase their properties. It was a problem then because it was distressed sales, and you remember all that listings, they were looking to find buyers, right? And then we found this basically beautiful creature as MLS, and we found, we can sell our software in US better than anywhere else. So we started the company in 2011 in Delaware, of course. To sell our software in US. Eventually, we became IDX vendor for more than 200 MLS providers in the United States, covering more than 96%, I think, of the properties. And at the same time, we have our heart with other countries that they don't have MLS. So we continue selling or listing, independent, isolated listing in other countries means 96 countries in total. So you can imagine what type of view we have. On one side, we have such an organized system, and on the other side, we have countries that they are struggling to establish MLS, and they cannot. So this is a solution, actually, like some questions and solutions about what we call as Paris paradigm. We developed it. So basically, first let's start with seller. Seller questions exactly the same in international markets and in US. I want maximum exposure, more offers, higher price. What can I do? And the answer with isolated agencies is to list with as many agents as you can. Pretty simple. That's why there's a problem. Because if I list with one agent, I'm dealing with just one boutique. I'm not going to get the best offers at all. Why I should? Now, let's go to the same question in US. I want maximum exposure. What should I do? Pretty simple. List with MLS. You are everywhere. You have all of your, all of the portals listing your property almost in real time, right? Thanks to, now we should actually have upload for Sol, use here, from point 2, and basically for List Hub, that they created the mass syndication in US. And also for IDX providers, all of IDX providers, especially all of RISO members, that they made this mass syndication possible. And I always get this complaint, especially from Dan. Dan, always you are telling me, we don't have exclusive listings, therefore MLS is not going to happen that well, right? I'm going to answer it the other way. Actually, we discussed it already. The reason that exclusive listing happens is the seller behavior, and seller behavior comes from the MLS and mass syndication. So you saw, seller decided to list with one agent. Believe me, if there was no mass syndication and you had 5 MLS, you may end up with listing with 5 agents in 5 MLS, right? But because of mass syndication, I get the maximum exposure already, done. So this funnel is the other way around. So on the seller side, MLS is the solution. And we all know that it's going to change the behavior of sellers, for sure. Now let's go to the difficult question. OK, this is the difficult one. I want to pay less. I want to pay no commission. And maybe in 1 or 2 countries, like we face the culture. MLS is the culture, right? MLS is defining the culture. MLS defined the culture of seller. Now let's go to the buyer. In maybe only Israel, I saw that buyer happily pays 2% for their agent. That's interesting. In other countries, they always expect the transaction to pay for that somehow, or the seller to pay for that. Now, the result is this. The buyer believes I don't need an agent because either seller pays for that. And the brutal reality, Ali Reza is here, and he can confirm, many civil and criminal cases in Middle East. Because they are not represented, buyers are not represented, they face a lot of problems. You just check the court cases, and you will find, how many scams happen. Like seller, other case, seller pays both agents who often conceal the issues on the property. They are not declaring, this problem and that problem is there, right? So you see, buyer is the key here. Because seller can be solved. Let's say we establish the MLS, and then what will happen with the buyer? Now, question 3 and 4, and we heard this in Middle East countless number of times when we discuss about MLS in Asia. Why should I share anything negative about the property? It's going to affect my commission. The property price is going to reduce, right? It's going to affect my commission. Maybe, the deal falls. Right? I'm not going to do that. For sure, some ethical agents are going to do that. The seller agent, why I should even split my commission? A very good question. I'm not going to give my commission 40%, 50% of that to someone else. So we have a big problem when we are talking about establishing MLS out of the United States, and that's why we don't have the MLS. Problem. Exclusive sellers agency contracts. This is rare. And extremely rare is exclusive buyer agency contracts. We don't have this. And it means we need to build a culture, right? We need to build a culture, not for agents, for buyers and sellers. We should somehow convince them this is, to your benefit. Now, this is a traditional paradigm. I call it like dumbbell effect. We have the property price going up, the commission also going up for the agent. So there is no motivation on the buyer side to do anything for the buyer. Why they should? Again, cases in Asia. These are the countries that are facing this problem, right? Financial interests of buyer side parties are not aligned. On one side, I have the buyer. You can see the green. And he or she wants to get the lower price. On the other side, we have the higher price, higher commission, including buyer's agent. And you can see those question marks on the eyes of the buyer agent. So should I follow the money, or should I follow the ethic? And that's the problem now in these countries. OK, why I didn't remove Israel? To be honest, Israel is like pretty clean on that. So let's find a solution. Solution. It should be first interesting to lenders, right? That's the main thing. Should be totally convincing for buyers to have representation. We cannot ask buyers, go ahead, pay something out of your pocket. They are already broke when they want to buy their first house. How they can pay something from their own pocket? Or something extra. So easy mind shift, it should be part of the solution. It should be convincing for legal system. Like in some countries, like Georgia, we have like I'm living in Georgia actually, like next to Marika and Khatia. I think Khatia also is here. And legal system is pretty soft. to the contracts. Some countries, like France, legal system is really complicated. So anyway, whatever we do, it should be convincing for the legal system. The solution should be fully compatible with current MLS dynamics. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We have a very beautiful system as MLS, and if we establish that, we can definitely win this game. So it should be compatible. Everything should be negotiable. This is important. Nothing fixed. No percentage should be fixed at all, because some countries, they don't like it. I'm not talking about the United States. Don't get me wrong. Let's move your mind out of US. It should not be a certain price. So logical issues, these are important points. Seller should not pay the commission to the buyer's agent, number one. Legal issues. Seller agent should not pay the commission to the buyer's agent. Cultural issues. Buyer should not pay commission to the buyer's agent. What? Have it. Because this is really important. Now, buyer's agent. Then who the hell gonna pay me? Let's go to this. I'm introducing Paris paradigm, and basically the concept is this. Ethics become culture when rewarded by the right system. Let's define a new job. We call this new job negotiator. Negotiator is different with buyer agent, completely different. Negotiator is a person who works with a different type of compensation. Let's remove the word compensation. Let's remove the word commission. And let's define a new way of compensation, inverse commission. So inverse commission means that I'm your negotiator. I'm going to talk with you about getting the best offer at the house. So what that means is that I will sign a contract with you. I will reject the offer of compensation from anyone on the seller side, seller agent, seller, whoever on the other side. I'm on your side. I'm going to get 30% or 50% of any offer that I can get you under my highest estimated value. And thanks God, I'm talking with all experts here, because explaining that would be very difficult for general audience. So what that means, higher estimated value. I'm going to check this property, forget about the listing price, and I'm going to say, you know what, the listing price is 1 million. This is a seller market. This most probably should be 1.1 million to be closed. So that is my highest estimated value of this property. I'm going to actually tell the buyer, I'm going to be your negotiator, get the best offer starting from this price, negotiating it down as max as possible. As max as possible. So what's going to happen is this. I'm going to find negative issues in the property as hard as I can. I'm going to actually find the ways to talk with the seller and seller agent to bring down the price, as suddenly I can get 950. So there's 200K difference between my highest estimated value and the price that I closed. 50K less than the listing price. How much I get? 100K. And how much buyer has in his pocket is another 100K. Because if he wanted to go and talk with the seller, he didn't have the tongue. He's the first-time buyer. He didn't have the skill to find the proper problems in the property, right? But I have that skill as a negotiator. So this is one of the big differences between negotiator and buyer agent. Negotiator works hard to find the best offer because that's how his inverse compensation works. He doesn't get the commission on the total price. He gets the commission on the gap between the highest estimated value that he has and the closing price. What if he cannot get? He's not going to get compensated. So if his highest estimated value is too low, he's not going to get compensated. And that is a very good trigger for the buyer to make sure, to the negotiator, to make sure that he gives the right number to the buyer, and this number should be always less than the budget of the buyer. Now let's go for more talks about this and why this works in international markets very well. So, in Paris paradigm, exclusive contract is mandatory on the buyer side. Means negotiator should have exclusive contract, but this exclusive contract is very interesting. It is per property and for a limited time, and between both of them means that if I am your negotiator, I cannot represent someone else as well, because it's a conflict of interest, right? I cannot represent two buyers. How you can negotiate for which one, right? And my best interest is to be technically skilled. So I should go and learn how to be the best negotiator. We have amazing mentors here. And then my time is up. Whoever likes actually to see the rest, 3 o'clock, Saul Klein is going to actually manage a panel there. Sorry, I'm going to pass it. I'm going to thank basically amazing mentors here that worked on Paris paradigm in the past, like I should say, a long time, right? So John Riley, author of Language Free says, Saul Klein actually managed our board of advisory. My co-founder, Terry, Joe, thank you very much for amazing comments, Ali Reza, Zola, and Dan. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you so much, Ali. And what timing to have that discussion and look at these new models with everything that's happening to the MLS system in the US is, that's one thing what we can take away from this conference is what is that value of a buyer's agent with a new MLS system moving forward. So that's something we'll explore in more depth. That's a great idea.